Well, yesterday's in the past, so I don't really like to talk about the past too much, but I'm sure you all want to talk about yesterday's game a little bit. But obviously, we're very excited about the opportunity ahead of us tomorrow night in Lafayette against the Raging Cajuns and get to see Garrett Edwards make his first career start, see if we can keep going, swinging the bats the way that we did yesterday and in the last two-thirds of the ball game. That was exciting, fun, happy to see, and everybody's loosening up and showing the talent that I always thought that they had. And that was very encouraging. Um, you know, made some comments last night after the game. I'd like to just kind of reiterate, that the loss to the Air Force Academy in the second game of the year was certainly a tough loss for us. It was a game we had in the grasp if we could have closed it out. We didn't play particularly great, but I really felt that a lot of that had to do with the way the Air Force Academy was playing. The three arms that they threw against us were SEC caliber arms. Anybody in our conference would have loved to have had that closer. I can promise you, throwing 97, 98 miles an hour. Really athletic guy. Their middleman was throwing 93 with great life. He struck out 5 batters in a row. And even their starting pitcher was a really good, solid number 3 starter in the SEC. So the fact that we lost to them is nothing to be ashamed of, in the sense that their kids competed and they played great, and they rose to the occasion. At the same time, you never like to lose, and how your team reacts to losing a game is going to tell you a lot about the character and makeup of your team. And to then go out there the next day and fall behind right away, I think it was 4-1 or 5-2 or something, and 6-2. And then to see us rally the way that we did against a fairly quality starting pitcher for Louisiana Tech. That kid was throwing the ball 90 miles an hour and had a 3-pitch mix. And he was no, walk in the park. And then they brought in a left-hander that was throwing 90 miles an hour. So, we did it against some decent pitchers there, at least, in the beginning stages of our hitting. And that was very, very encouraging. And I couldn't be happier for a guy like Gavin Dugas to really kind of just bust out of it in a big way. I said before the season that Gavin Dugas was going to be a very critical player for us this year. I'll take 6 RBIs a game if he can provide that for us. I don't know that he'll keep up that rate, but it was just really, I was really happy for the young man and happy for our team for what he did. So, like I said, we'll close the book on yesterday, get ready for this big game tomorrow night. Fired up to do it, going on the road for the first time, and it should be exciting. Nothing, Bill.
Okay.
There you go.
Hey, Coach. Hey, Coach. I'm pulled over in park safely to speak to you.
Thank you.
Coach, is this the first time you've played the Cajuns since Tony Robichaux's passing?
It sure is, Jacques. We didn't get to play last year's game, and I mentioned this to somebody the other day, how strange it's going to feel to go over there and not to see Tony. And I have a lot of respect for Matt Deggs, and he's doing a great job already, but it just won't feel right to me, when we go play the Cajuns and Tony Robichaux is not in the other dugout. I had a very good relationship with Tony, respected him a ton. He was a great man, and not just a great coach, but a great man, a father, husband. He was a role model for a lot of people, and I'm sure they're still feeling the sting over there of having lost him too soon. And, I've been thinking a lot about him, since yesterday's game concluded, and I knew we were playing UL next. And, I actually exchanged text messages with Matt Deggs today, and just felt so strange, when you think of UL Raging Cajuns, you think of Tony Robichaux. So, listen, we've had a lot of loss. Personally, I've had a lot of loss in the last couple of years, with my dad and with Tommy Lasorda. And I just had a very dear friend passed away a couple of days ago that was an assistant coach of mine at St. Thomas University, just died suddenly. It's just constant reminders every day about life and how fragile it is and how we need to enjoy every day of our lives, because you just never know, when it's all going to be taken away from you. But we can still honor those people and remember them. But, life goes on as well.
If I could ask you a follow-up, I know you played a lot of games in the regular season, but that super regional, you played against them at the box. That was just really charged up the whole state when two teams were going head-to-head to go to the World Series, and Chambers hit the home run and the classic game one and all that. What do you remember about the super regional with them?
You just brought up a couple of things. I felt a lot of pressure, to be honest with you. I remember Herb Vincent, who has been our associate athletic director, coming up to me and saying, "Look, I know you're kind of new to the area. You can't lose to UL in the super regional, okay?" I said, "Thanks, sir. Appreciate that. Just don't put a little more pressure on me than we already have." But this is the name of the game at LSU. Is your goal is to go to Omaha and win when you get there, and whoever stands in the way. And that particular year, I think that was 2015, if I'm not mistaken. We played the Cajuns. They had a great team. I remember the first game, Alex Lang was pitching a masterful game, and he wanted to go out there for the ninth. I wanted to go out there for the ninth inning. He went out to the ninth inning, and the crowd erupted because they saw that I was leaving him in the game, and they were so excited. And Tony sent up a pinch hitter, a kid named Conrad, and he hit the first pitch out of the ballpark to tie the game. And of course, when I walked off the mound, everybody was booing me for leaving him in the game. But Chris Chambers got me off the hook by hitting one out, and we walked them off the first game. And then the second game was another tough game. Gunnar Leger was pitching for them, and he was baffling us a lot. Runs were hard to come by. And I just remember Alex Bregman coming up to bat in like the eighth inning. I think we might have had a 1-run lead at the time, and the bases were loaded. And the entire crowd was on their feet chanting his name, knowing that it was probably his last at bat in Alec Box Stadium. And he got a single up the middle for 2 runs to, I think, put us up 6-3. And I just remember having tears in my eyes, so happy for that kid, that he had that moment and to cap off his LSU career at Alec Box Stadium. But it was 2 tough wins against a really good team, and it got us to Omaha. And we thought we had a chance to win it all. Unfortunately, we went 1-2 in Omaha and came up a little bit short. But special team we had that year.
Thank you, Coach.
You're welcome, Jacques. And thank you for being careful.
Paul, looking at Garrett Edwards, just sort of what are your expectations for him in his first start?
Well, I don't really have a rein on him on how long he's going to go, Wilson. Relatively speaking, of course, I'd like him to go out there and pitch for a while, and hopefully he's successful enough to leave him in the game. But I do feel we have a locked and loaded bullpen for this game on Wednesday. We haven't used Fontenot since the first day, Saturday, so he's rested. We got him up briefly last night, but it was more. The game got a little hairy there in the 8th inning, and then we got the double play to get out of the inning. And then once we got out of it without giving up any runs, I decided I was going to go with Jacob Hasty to get him his first appearance, and but had Fontenot waiting in case we needed to get him up again. And then we tacked on some more runs. So of course Fontenot was never necessary to use him. So he's well rested and he'll be ready to go. He could go probably 2 innings if necessary. But we got a lot of other guys that are going to be available, including Will Helmers, who I pretty much have moved back to being a full-time pitcher. He's still going to hit. I'm not going to have him at third base, probably let him take fungos again at first base and be an emergency guy there in case anything happened with Trey Morgan or, we wanted to make any other moves. But I want to get Will back on the mound the day after the second game. I guess that was yesterday. Will threw his first bullpen session since he's rejoined the team after his illness. And he threw a tremendous bullpen yesterday and looked like the Will Hummers of old. And so if he's feeling good tomorrow, we may see him for an inning. So we'll just kind of play the game by ear as we're going through it. You have a plan, but the plans never work out exactly the way you map them out. So we're just going to ride Garrett and see how he does. I very much expect him to pitch well. And, be a battler out there. He won't be afraid. I'm certain of that. We'll see how far he goes. I'm sure he won't go beyond 5 innings, but if he could go that far, it'd be awesome. If he doesn't, then we got enough bullpen, I think, to make up for it.